So we got some interesting news last week, which I've been wanting to make this video for a long time now, but I haven't had the chance to properly react to it. Star Wars is planning its next 3 episodes. Discussing Film came out with a tweet saying Simon Kinberg is writing the trilogy, although some insiders think it may be the start of a new saga instead. So now we know that Star Wars has had one of the worst reps when it comes to IP. Arguably, I would say it's worse than DC. Honestly, Star Wars fans have been very revolting over the many Star Wars projects that's came out since the last trilogy that came out with Daisy Ridley, with her Rey character, Finn, his character, Oscar Isaac's character, Kylo Ren. The list goes on and on and on with that trilogy. It's not one of my, obviously, with my Star Wars expertise, I'm not the biggest Star Wars fan. I'm really not. I'm more of a DC and a Marvel guy, but I respect this trilogy, and I think it is by far one of the best IPs that's ever existed. Probably bigger in DC. Probably with the brand and the IP it has, it's probably, since the acquisition of Disney, it's probably bigger than like DC. Moving on to that, in the past projects that has came out, you've had projects like the Book of Boba Fett that hasn't hit home to many people. Ahsoka didn't hit home to many people. The Mandalorian season 3. Recently we just had The Acolyte. We all know what happened with that. Andor and films like that has really had the Star Wars fans in their feelings and feeling depressed, feeling like Star Wars of old is not Star Wars anymore, which I am telling you right now that Star Wars of old is never going to come back. It's contaminated now by Disney. Okay. The old Star Wars of old is never going to be the same. It's never coming back. Could they course correct and bring the fan base back into it to make it seem more of what Lucasfilm's original vision was for Star Wars? Absolutely. I think that's on the table. But with the planet they're working around with these future projects, I don't know. So Culture Crave did come out with a tweet that's talked about every Star Wars film that is possibly in the works. So you got the Star Wars trilogy, which they just announced. You had the Mandalorian and Grogu movie, which I do expect to be a big hit in the box office. I am going to be seeing that myself because I am a huge Mandalorian fan. So is my father. You had the new Jedi Order, which is the reported Daisy Ridley solo movie, I guess, that they're going to have, where essentially she is going to be the Jedi. But we all know what happened with the director for that film when they had the interview. Yeah. I don't know if a lot of people's going to be watching that movie. I know me personally, I'm not. Maybe not. I might. So the new Jedi Order is the film that obviously I guess Daisy Ridley is supposed to be starring in with her Rey character. She being the Master Jedi now. I don't know. A lot of people's not a big fan of that. Me personally, I'm not either. There was a lot of controversy when it comes to the director and her comments in a recent interview, maybe about a year ago. It hasn't sit well with the fans. That's just another story for another day. You got James Mangold's Dawn of the Jedi, which is set 25,000 years before the Skywalker Saga. James Mangold has done a very good job. He's actually in the process of directing the Swamp Thing movie in DC, and he did do Logan, which was a big hitter for a lot of Marvel fans. So maybe that's got some promise. The Lando series, it was originally going to be a TV show, is now to be a film written by Donald and Stephen Glover. I don't know why this is on here, because I remember them saying that Lando was dead at Disney. I don't know why that's still on there. Maybe that might not be true, but this is Culture Crane. It's a very reliable source, so maybe there is some truth to this still being in the process of being made. You got Dave Filoni's Star Wars movie, closes out the stories told in the projects like The Mandalorian, Ahsoka, and the Book of Boba Fett. Dave Filoni done a great job with bringing justice to the hating Christians. Anakin Skywalker character, but we finally got to see him in his Clone Wars outfit. We saw the crazy visuals when Ahsoka was fighting Anakin as the evil counterpart of him, and then he had the Darth Vader thing in the background shining when he was charging her in that dream, this Cortex dream fate, whatever you want to call it, extra or another realm, another reality. I don't know what you want to call it. I didn't even watch the Ahsoka series. I only specifically watched the episode where Anakin was actually in the series. So maybe the Dave Filoni can do a great job with the film. Who knows? Taika Waititi's movie, which I know this was still in development. I don't know what the movie's supposed to be about. You got Sean Levy, the director for just Deadpool and Wolverine, big hit. Rogue Squadron, I thought this was killed too with Patty Jenkins. I thought that was going to be a dead one. You got Rian Johnson's Star Wars trilogy, still in the works, but postponed until he's finished with the Knives Out films. So with that being said, with the news of them getting a new trilogy, do I think that they should bring in some new material, new characters? I don't know. I really don't know. It's very hard with IPs to develop new characters and make new characters and allow them to flourish. Because when it comes to Marvel, I can speak from Marvel's point of view. When you got an IP like Marvel and DC, you're going to use your heavy hitters. I don't care how many new comic books you write and how many new comic book characters you're going to introduce. You're still going to go back to the main hitters. I don't know the comic book side of Star Wars. I know they do have comic books for Star Wars, but you're going to stick with your heavy hitters. It's just harder to do that with Star Wars because, if I'm not mistaken, Star Wars fans, please quote me on this and fact check me on this, but Star Wars originally started with the movies. Again, fact check me with me on that. Were there stories first? Were there comic books first? Let me know. Let me just fact check me on that. And we know Star Wars has had animation movies and an animated series that's been very popular with a lot of Star Wars fans. So in my opinion, they would be smarter by maybe, in my opinion, my personal favorite part of Star Wars, expounding on the Anakin Skywalker and Hayden Christian and Ewan McGregor's Obi-Wan Kenobi. Maybe even do an extended version like Dave Filoni hinted around with, do an extended version of the Clone Wars. I mean, bring in some of the stuff that was in the animated storylines and put them in a film. That'd be the smart thing to do. Because the Clone Wars animated series lasted a long time, had many seasons. I think it may still be going on today, if I'm not mistaken. I think they had a new season probably maybe about 1.5 years, 2 years ago. So I would take those stories from that animated show and put them in live action, bring Hayden Christian back, bring Ewan McGregor back, because Ewan McGregor even hinted to it in a recent interview I saw that he wants to do more stuff in his Clone Wars suit. He wants to be able to actually wear that Clone Wars suit because he's never had to wear it. And if you don't do that, maybe still expound upon something with Darth Vader. I mean, everybody wants to see Darth Vader. The hard thing is with that though, what do you do with Darth Vader with the hero element of it? Because you obviously can't bring in back a character like Luke Skywalker unless you CGI the face. And I imagine characters like Princess Leia, Carrie Fisher. I know she probably didn't even give her a blessing to be able to use an artificial version of her character once she was passed away. Even characters like Lando, maybe you could use Donald Glover's Lando in a Star Wars project. Chewbacca's always going to be CGI, and maybe some version of Han Solo. Harrison Ford technically still is alive, but I mean, would you probably de-age him too, just like they did Mark Hamill? That could be an option. I would be sure that a lot of Star Wars fans will be on board with that. It's just I just don't know what direction they would want to take. I'm not a Star Wars guru by any means. So Star Wars fans, please let me know down in the comments, what do you even think of this news? What do you think they should do with this trilogy? Do you think they should still go by what the tweet did say from discussing film, that they were probably in favor of starting a different universe? What do you think about that? Do you think they should use what they already had for characters like Anakin Skywalker, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Darth Vader, just de-aging the older characters like the Luke Skywalkers and the Han Solos? Let me know, would you rather have that option? Or ultimately, are you in favor of the new saga? Let me know down below in the comments. Do you think they should continue with making Rey? Star Wars fans, are we still in favor of Daisy really reportedly probably being the big Jedi Master in the new saga if they make it? Let me know that down below in the comments. In order to let me know what you thought of my opinion. Again, I am not a Star Wars guru. I would love to have my cousin on to be able to talk with me about this with you guys, because he is more of an expert in Star Wars than I am. So if you are interested in me in possibly setting up a Zoom call or a Discord chat with him to let y'all hear his perspective on it, you'd be interested in seeing that. It'd be a good conversation. Let me know that down below in the comments. Be sure to check the description down below to get links to all my other videos when it comes to comic book news, podcasts, or movie trailers. And more importantly, do not forget to subscribe for more. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace, love, and positivity always, y'all. See ya.